Batman and Superman were imprisoned with a god, aka Metron, but how did he end up in this position? Well, because after Gog was denied entry into Valhalla and exiled to Earth for refusing to fight in a war that was taking place on his homeworld, Metron informed him about the multiverse, and he wanted access to this multiverse, so he waited for David's arrival so he could combine his ability to travel multiverses with Metron's Mobius chair. But upon asking Metron for his chair, Metron refused, so he beat him to a pulp and took his chair anyways, and ever since then Metron was kept as one of his many prisoners. Bruce and Clark were so desperate to find out what Gog was planning, and apparently they weren't the only ones who wanted to know, because Kingdom Come Superman and Batman were actually listening in on their entire conversation, and they weren't there to cause any harm. They were actually there to apologize and wanted to help. Kingdom Come Superman expressed that hearing Metron's story was like emerging from a fog. Their eyes were finally opened, and they wanted to make up for their ignorance, but it was still a mystery as to why Gog wanted to combine David's abilities with the Mobius chair, until Metron revealed that he wanted to open a portal leading to Apocalypse to wage war against Darkseid, a war that he couldn't and didn't want to win. You see, he was purposely gonna lead Earth's heroes on a suicide mission in hopes of being accepted into Valhalla, and with this new information, the heroes knew exactly what they needed to do. They needed to join forces and take down Gog before his sick and twisted plans could ever have a chance at unfolding. So later on, they infiltrated his base, and both of the Batman immediately singled out David, while the Superman gave Gog one opportunity to surrender. But of course he refused to do so, therefore the two Supermen immediately started to clobber him. David, on the other hand, was so brainwashed that he was trying to convince the two Batman that Gog was trying to uplift them and make them immortal, but obviously they weren't buying it. All they wanted was for David to realize that it was still possible to change, that they never stopped looking for him when he got lost in the multiverse, and that redemption wasn't out of his reach. He was torn and unsure of himself, and as memories of him and Superman when he was younger started to flood his mind, the battle between Gog and the two Superman was growing more and more intense with each passing moment. Kingdom Come Superman tried using his freeze breath to restrict Gog's movement, but Gog effortlessly broke free from the ice, determined to give the two Supermen the beating of a lifetime, which is exactly what would take place for the rest of their showdown. It seemed as if it was over for them, but it wasn't. Not because they would somehow muster up the strength to fight back, but because David and the rest of Earth 22's heroes finally embraced the fact that Gog was corrupt and deceiving them. So they instantly launched an attack on him in hopes of ruining his plans, but unfortunately before they could reach him, he used Metron's chair to open up a boom tube, meaning that it was absolutely critical for them to take him down now so they could shut down the boom tube, because Darkseid could come marching through it at any moment. But Gog was just too powerful, effortlessly putting all of them down, which meant one thing and one thing only. The Supermen were needed now more than ever, so they collectively used their abilities and combined their strength to smash him directly in the face, causing him to topple onto the ground. After that, Clark walked over to David and put his hand out. David immediately started apologizing for everything, but Clark was just glad that he was free of Gog's control and ready to shut down the boom tube. But just moments before they were able to, Darkseid, followed by an army of parademons, would emerge from it, ready to wreak havoc on Earth 22. But sadly, that's when the issue comes to an end. But if you want me to cover the next one when it comes out, let me know in the comments down below.